As Ruth said, my name is Mark Smith. I work for Suse, and I was given a theme for this morning of why OpenStack should be on every IT decision maker's shortlist. And when the lights came up just now and I looked across the audience, I was thinking to myself, well, you know what, my job is probably already done. Here we have a group of hundreds of IT professionals who are giving up their time to come and talk about OpenStack. So it's clearly important enough for you to invest time, resources in being here. So I guess my objective is slightly different. What I want to do this morning in the next 30 minutes is to reinforce why OpenStack should be on your shortlist and give you some reasons why you should be looking at this for your data center transformation. So let me just start by sharing with you an ancient Chinese curse, which apparently translates into English as, "May you live in interesting times." You may well have heard of this before. May you live in interesting times. Now, it sounds like a bit of a blessing, really, doesn't it? But the truth is, if you want a peaceful, easy life, you want to live in boring times. We don't live in boring times. We live in interesting times from a business and from a technology viewpoint. Now, living in interesting times means that we have challenges. It means that we have opportunities for business development. And I just wanted to share a couple of statistics about the IT and business landscape that all of us work in. So just a few statistics. For instance, in the last minute, 204 million emails have been sent. That's a lot of email traffic, a lot of information, a lot of data. The challenging piece of that as well is that in the last minute, 1,080 new botnet infections have been produced, which of course means there's a security and a data problem going on there, an infrastructure problem. Emails, blessing and a curse. Just share an experience with you. A friend of mine who's an IT director came back from 2 weeks holiday, and in his inbox he had 1,637 new emails. You might have had an experience similar to that. So sometimes it's information overload, but the truth is that data and information is the lifeblood of all of our businesses. So being able to handle that is really important. And by the end of this year, we're expecting to have 4.1 billion email users, over half the world's population. We're expecting to have the number of network devices as twice the world's population. So our job is to handle that speed of change, to be able to take advantage of it, to make it a competitive advantage, a business development opportunity, because we all need to make more opportunities for ourselves. So let me just put that into context with some survey feedback about the priorities as IT professionals that we face. I'm pretty willing to bet that most of us wouldn't argue with these as high-level priorities. So, for instance, we have an increased emphasis on cloud solutions. We probably all know that. We're probably looking at how they work best for our business. Data center infrastructure improvements are a key area for IT professionals. There's more and more focus on IT budgets and spending. A dangerous thing to do. Can I just ask you to put up your hands if you have a blank check for any IT spending that you might want to make in your business? Okay. I have done that before, and one person put their hand up. I tried to get a job in his company. So we don't. We recognize that there are constraints. Network management projects, they're important and probably an area that's been under-focused on until now. Big data projects, big opportunity for analytics and really trying to get key information from our data. Now, one thing that's not on that list, and this particular survey brought out, is that actually there is more budget for cloud projects potentially this year in some businesses. So, there is some good news there. But the key thing about all 5 of these priorities is that they play into data transformation, they play into cloud, hence the OpenStack connection. They also play into software-defined transformations in what we do within the data center. So let me just share with you an interesting idea about inflection points that we all have to face. Now, I put up here that cloud and software-defined everything are the next inflection point. But actually, most businesses reach this point where technology can do something for us. And new technology will create a change in direction, an opportunity for a paradigm shift. Now, I just want to give you a couple of examples of this because we often don't see the paradigm shift until after it's happened. The key thing is spotting it as quickly as possible and taking advantage of it. Last weekend, I was watching some movies on TV, and one of the movies was set in 2008. And the key character in the movie, rather sad character, every night he went out to his video rental shop and rented a movie to watch at home every night. Now, I want to just check here. I don't think you have Blockbuster Video in the Netherlands. We do in America and we do in the UK, or we did. You have Videoland here, is that right? Or you did as a brand? How many video rental shops do you see these days? We don't consume our entertainment that way anymore. That's happened really quickly. So there's a paradigm shift there. Some businesses have gone out of business and other businesses have taken advantage, and it's a big opportunity. Let me just turn that around and give you a positive example. I had the privilege of working rather a long time ago with the first internet banking solution in the UK finance district in London. Now, when you think about how banks now reach out to us as consumers, it's changed, hasn't it? We now have internet banking, we have mobile banking. A traditional bank probably would be on the decline now if they hadn't taken advantage of the technology opportunities, the new paradigm shift in servicing their customers, making information easy for us, but also bringing down their costs. So we hit these inflection points, these new paradigms. And when we now think about our data centers, those paradigm shifts, those inflection points, they're coming quicker and quicker. So think about what we might call traditional data centers, hardware-centric, client-server type architectures where we might have one workload on one server, underutilized usually, and difficult to manage because we had lots and lots of pieces of hardware. Well, we hit an inflection point. We virtualized our data centers, and today the vast majority of data centers are pretty well virtualized because we want to get better utilization, better economy, better management of our workloads. But for a lot of our customers, a lot of our businesses, that's now reaching the end of its positive benefits. We need the next paradigm shift. We need the next way of reducing costs, adding agility, business velocity, and that's really where cloud comes in. That's our private cloud inflection point. That's where OpenStack begins to play. So here's what we expect of the promise of private cloud computing. Tailoring what you do with your private cloud to your business. So what are you looking for? Why would you consider a private cloud solution or a cloud solution, thinking of it from a wider perspective? Well, you do want speed, you want agility, you want the next paradigm shift in efficiency. Elasticity, so it can expand and shrink, easier delivery of future innovation, lower costs, better return on investment, better control. You might want to keep the security of your data within your firewall. That's a point that's come out in a couple of comments already today. You may choose to use self-service capabilities, you may not. That's an option. But you're looking to improve the quality of your services to your business. So all of those things on the shopping list are elements that you may well be looking at right now for your private cloud. Excuse me, let's just talk about OpenStack specifically then. Now, we've discussed the speed of innovation with OpenStack. But OpenStack has now reached a level of maturity where it's production ready. It's a platform that you can rely on to actually use for your real workloads. And frankly, that's being done by some huge global companies that we would all recognize. But the truth is, it's also being used by lots of small and medium enterprises for their production workloads, and they're seeing those benefits. So they've spent time with proof of concept kicking the tires, and they're now confident that it's the right platform for them to deploy. So just quoting a white paper, an analyst white paper that came out after the OpenStack Vancouver Summit in May of this year. OpenStack is here and it's ready. It's the compatibility standard for the private cloud market. It is irrefutably proven that OpenStack is viable for production environments. Now that's a really good thing. Suse, as a founding member of the OpenStack Foundation and a platinum sponsor, we've been working very hard to build in and harden the code so that you can begin to consider it for production use. So that's a really good thing. Let's talk a little bit about the infrastructure. Now, I'm not a deeply technical person, and I'm sure we can have conversations about the layers here a little later. What we're trying to illustrate here is the general way that OpenStack is transforming the data center. What we're ending up with here are really large pools of software-defined resources, compute, storage, networking. We actually have an automated physical fabric in the data center, but actually controlled by virtualized services. And OpenStack is creating a new software layer in the data center that allows it to control the infrastructure beneath and orchestrate the workloads above. So new software can be designed to take advantage of the OpenStack APIs. But actually, this works extremely well for some of the new technology trends that we need to support. For instance, big data, platform as a service, containers, built into the OpenStack cloud platform. So we get control, we get the automation, we get the new paradigm that gives us that greater agility and flexibility. Not only that, we do get the ability to use the new cloud architectures, which are built to be scale out horizontally, but we also have the ability with OpenStack to cope with virtualized workloads that we already have in our data center. Now, as an example, Suse OpenStack Cloud comes with the widest hypervisor support available. So it comes with Xen and KVM, hypervisor support for Microsoft workloads, and also with VMware vSphere support. So you can use it to deploy your existing workloads and the new workloads that are going to pay the dividends to your business in the future. So let's talk a little bit about what we get with OpenStack as a cloud solution. Now, I think it's fair to say OpenStack is a bag of tools, if I can use that phrase. It's a series of connected projects that deliver functionality. And that means you have the ability to choose those projects, those tools that work best for your solution. Now, what you see here is a list of the top used OpenStack projects from the user survey, the super user survey coming out of the Vancouver OpenStack Summit. Here's the message I'd like you to take away from this, because I think this is important. What you see is the majority of OpenStack users are using a specific subset of the projects heavily. Why are they doing that? Because it meets their needs today. Now, the beauty of OpenStack is, we were talking about statistics earlier, 30,000 members of the OpenStack Foundation. It's in excess of 30,000. It's over 530 contributing companies. Not wishing to contradict Monty, he said that his stats were a little out of date and there's no test, okay? So it's okay. But so a lot of companies, the beauty is that if you deploy OpenStack, you can join the foundation, you can have a part in shaping what comes next. And that's really important. So what you have is actually a mature feature-rich solution to use today, combined with a future-ready project set that will allow you to think about what you want to do next. So for instance, when you start thinking about using database as a service, that's available today, and it will become used more often. So the beauty here is the development is happening at a rapid but governed pace, so that you will have what you need in the future, future-proofing your cloud solution. So just an interesting way of looking at what is actually being produced from the OpenStack Foundation. Now, let's just talk a little bit about what you may choose to do with OpenStack. The quote on the screen is that OpenStack is consistently recognized as being overly complex to configure, deploy, and upgrade. Well, okay, it's a bag of tools. That's what it is. It's a series of projects. I wouldn't want you to let that put you off from downloading the code and starting to use OpenStack straight away. It's there. You can do it. It's available to you to start to play with and experiment with in your own environment. That's a good thing to do. However, just thinking about what we do with other products, let's take our cars. Again, can I just quick poll? How many in the audience have actually built their own car? We have 4. Love to talk to you later. Excellent. Now, that's really good, but in an audience of several hundred, we've got 4 people that have actually done this, as I'm assuming, enthusiasts. But maybe weekends of grease and spanners is not your thing, right? Most of us will buy our car from a dealership. Why do we do that? Well, we want to make sure it does what we're buying it for right away, right out the showroom. So we're looking for a pre-built solution. We're looking for decision points. We want quality, reliability, performance. We're looking for the right kind of service and support. We're looking for a partner that will give us the best experience. And I would hazard a guess here that value is probably a part of our decision-making process. So when we now think about OpenStack, this kind of makes sense as well. Working with a partner that's going to pre-build the solution. Now, Suse, as an example, we were the original OpenStack distribution. Back in 2012, with the Essex release of OpenStack, we were the first to launch a commercially supported enterprise version of OpenStack. And since then, we've put our experience with open source development, with packaging and distribution, providing maintenance and support for that, into hardening the code, making it as easy to use as possible. I just want to give you a couple of things we've been aiming to do. First of all, in terms of ease of use, Suse OpenStack Cloud will deploy incredibly quickly. I'd like to suggest that a little later today, about 3:45, Julianne, one of the Suse systems engineers that are here, will be demonstrating how quickly you can get OpenStack up and running and how you can start to deploy workloads on it. So please come along to that session, see how that works. It'll be interesting. So that's one thing. Now, just to put that into context, every OpenStack summit, in fact, for the past 3 summits sponsored by Intel, there is a rule the stack competition. The competition is to quickly deploy a complete cloud solution, OpenStack Cloud, and add in sophistication. So high availability control planes, migration, all of those kind of things. Because of the elegant deployment solution built into Suse OpenStack Cloud, based on the Crowbar and Chef open source projects, we won it every single time by actually a mile. And the last one in Vancouver, we were first and second. It's just a proof point, helpful to know, makes it easy to get up and running and working with it. We also very elegantly deploy high availability for the control plane as part of the deployment process. And that means you get a solid private cloud that you can rely on. Building in the widest hypervisor support into the distribution means that you're not tied to only new development. You can use your existing IT investments in your cloud infrastructure. And of course, there is no vendor lock-in. You think about the private cloud options that you have available, OpenStack is the only open source version that's credible. so you are able to go with flexibility, no vendor lock-in. Helpful when you look at your future costs. So buying a distribution, working with a partner makes kind of common sense. Now, I wanted just to take a few moments as well to just share with you some getting started recommendations. Now, all of these recommendations are from real live customers, and whereas a lot of the visibility goes to these huge global corporations using OpenStack, these are all from small and medium-sized enterprises deploying OpenStack. How do you get the best out of the experience? How do you make sure that the project is going to be a success? Well, here's a couple of tips. Planning is absolutely essential. Now, you can start to play with OpenStack and see where it leads you. Most deployments of OpenStack, once you start with a predefined idea of what you want to do, you'll find that there are lots of other things that spin off that, other benefits that you can start to build upon the original project you're looking for. But you do need to define your business requirements, your constraints, your expected benefits. You need to look at your organization. You need to get buy-in from all the stakeholders, because you're actually going to be taking a different approach to the data center. You're going to need to change some processes. I made a couple of notes here just to share with you as well. These are extra things. What problems are you trying to solve? Who are your users? What do those users want? So you've got your stakeholders at a business level, but the users may have a different viewpoint about what they're looking for. What are your business and technology requirements? What are the constraints? We all have constraints, whether that's budget, deadlines, manpower. What extra resources might you need? You may need to look very carefully at the underlying infrastructure that you're going to support your private cloud with, so the compute, the networking, the storage. You're going to need to look at reference architectures. Handy to be able to work with a partner that can help you with some guidance in all of those areas. But a successful project will need some good planning. So that's, I think, the key output. It's a journey. It's a journey because you'll be using the cloud for more and more things as time moves on. I think that's probably fairly clear. So I wonder if I can just come back to my original comment about the ancient Chinese curse. May you live in interesting times. It's quite thought-provoking. We do live in interesting times, don't we? By the way, the second curse in the series of 3 is, may you come to the attention of the government. Which I think is kind of insidious, and you did actually mention the NSA earlier, didn't you? However, may you live in interesting times. We do. We face paradigm shifts that can really benefit our business, but if we miss them, if we don't take advantage of them, then it might put us at competitive risk. So OpenStack can help us to handle those paradigm shifts. They can, the inflection point, to take advantage of it. It will continue to adapt and develop, and we can all be part of that process if we're part of the OpenStack Foundation and the community. The last bullet point, I think, is my key one here. OpenStack is positioned to be the foundation for the next decade of technology choices. And that's a bold statement, but I think that's why OpenStack should be on every IT decision maker's shortlist. So I'm just really left with one more kind of personal message to you as well. This is a journey. Choosing the right partner to work with, the one that has the right kind of credibility, and I'm putting Suse up there for consideration, with 20 years experience in open source enterprise computing, hardening the code, providing Linux-based distributions, which of course OpenStack is built on top of. We have the credibility and the heritage to be able to help with OpenStack. So please pop by our booth, have a conversation with us. We have 2 other speaking opportunities today that are relevant, and I just want to mention them as well. We have Oren, who's going to be doing one session on high availability in the control plane for OpenStack. Worth coming along and listening to that. That's at 2:10. And the one I mentioned earlier about ease of deployment and ease of management from Julianne, that's at 3:45 this afternoon. So if you'd like to come along to those, we'd be delighted to talk to you in more depth. I'm also very proud to say that Suze's user conference this year, the Global User Conference, is right here in the Netherlands. So just as a personal invitation, November the 2nd to the 6th, right here in Amsterdam, SuzeCon will be happening. So personal invitation, love to see as many of you there as possible, opportunity for more conversations. But my key final message to you is please, as IT decision makers, please make sure that OpenStack is on your shortlist. Thank you.
Do you want some question and answer? Okay. Maybe you have some questions for Mark.
I was working to a timing stamp. I didn't realize we had time for questions. Please, sir. Third curse. So the first curse was, the first Chinese curse was, may you live in interesting times. The second was, may you come to the attention of the government. And the third, strangely enough, may you find what you're looking for.
Can you explain that one?
I'll have a stab at it. I think sometimes when you find what you're looking for, it's not always what you expected. They're all quite subtle and obviously very ancient. Far too subtle for me. Any other questions? Thank you for that one. Yes, sir.
Maybe a short remark instead of a question. You had the top priority of every IT decision maker, and maybe it's not the right remark for this conference, but I missed security in that priority.
Yes. So the question was, security wasn't on the list from, where was that from? Tech Republic, I think, wasn't it? The particular list I showed. And thank you for bringing that up. I actually, obviously for private cloud, security is a key consideration, right? Because we actually have the challenge of making sure that we're secure ourselves, but it's within the firewall, it's within our control. And when I was looking at which list to bring with me, I considered industry analyst priority lists, I considered survey lists. They are in the top 10, pretty well similar, one or two kind of adjustments. The reason I liked that particular one was purely because it was a survey, therefore it was IT professionals talking about their requirements. I absolutely believe that security should be on that list. And I think actually, we didn't have a chance for polling here, but we probably would rejig the list according to our business or our personal objectives even within the business. So yes, security should certainly be on the list. Fair comment, well spotted. Thank you. Please.
With the nice-looking yellow car, what finished products in cloud platform does OpenStack offer?
Yes. The way that Suse work, one of the things I didn't mention in depth as we went through is that we partner, we have 20 years of experience with partnershiping with open source vendors and solutions. We believe that you should have the choice of the tools that work best in your environment. Now, the beauty of Suse's experience in partnerships is that we have the widest hardware certification available for our distribution sets, including OpenStack, which is actually great because you don't just want OpenStack to work with brand new projects. You want to be able to actually look at what it can do for the rest of your data center. We also partner with the widest selection of ISVs, so the workload compatibility with our solutions and with our OpenStack distribution is also the widest. It's a longer answer than you asked me, but coming back to platform as a service, what we look to do there as well is partner with the companies that provide, for instance, Cloud Foundry or other solutions on top of OpenStack to make sure you get the one that's best for your business. So it's not us actually dictating the stack top to bottom that you have to use if you're using Suse. What we aim to do is actually certify and support everything in the stack and work with partners to make sure you get best of breed solutions. Okay, well, thank you. Good quality questions. I'll be at the booth, the Suse booth. If you would like to discuss more, I'd be delighted to do that. Thank you so much.
Okay, Mark. Thank you.